Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here, basically, we are talking about the most dangerous topic, that is city creation. In this, basically, we are talking about the topic that is 1300 city basically created earthquake on the base of 22 blood cells. Basically, this also basically almost we have discussed. Then also we will discuss little bit. 22 blood group is there basically. Then I told that yes, basically whatever effect basically that is going to happen to these 22 blood groups, that is directly going to affect to 900 crore people basically, because 900 people basically are directly connected with these blood groups basically. That how basically that is connected, that only the nuclear power company knows basically, that how basically they do the chaining basically, that basically even the doctors also basically might not be knowing. Doctors only know the blood cells and their medicines and their roadmap of the medicines. That's all basically. Because they are not supposed to know, no, basically, because they are doing their doctor's duty. Why they are interfering in the energy level duty basically? That basically somebody might ask basically. So like this basically things are basically there. So 22 blood groups connected with incidence. Incidence happens to these blood groups. It connects to earthquakes. Directly basically it doesn't connect to the earthquake. Few blood groups are very powerful that it directly connects to the earthquakes. That basically very rare blood groups are basically there. They are basically directly connected with the satellite groups. Their energy basically directly gets from the satellite group. That basically very rare basically. That basically don't know which blood group is that. So like this basically things basically are there. So 22 blood groups getting certain level of uh, certain level of data. That data basically are equal to incidence. Story generates. Story collected by the power company according to the negative and positive energy basically. That are the negative and positive data the earthquakes generates. Negative and positive energy, the data are sent to the cities, and according to that basically the earthquake generates. And before this basically, and then basically the earthquakes are basically connected by the, before the earthquake generates basically few groups basically say that basically if we can solve that data then it would be okay, otherwise basically we will give this data to the earthquake department. So like this basically things basically are like this basically the earthquake generates. If data are not solved, then basically the earthquake generates. How basically the data are passed to the environment. The data are passed to the environment. Then basically the earthquake basically generates, and environment basically connects data directly. Basically they doesn't get the data. That basically comes through power supply basically. That is the power company. Like this basically they generates the data. Like this basically the 1300 city basically generates the earthquake. And if basically 1300 cities are basically generating earthquake, that means something big level incidents and big level stories basically are generated. But 1300 city basically never basically ever got the earthquake, because that type of incidents and the stories basically never covered like that basically. That's why basically 1300 city, this is 1300 city in India basically. Indian blood group basically I'm talking about. So from the person told that basically who are the people basically who are staying in the India basically, who are basically connected with the Indian land blood groups basically. Their blood groups get effects, then basically the 1300 city basically gets earthquake. That basically very rare happens basically. 1300 city means it 1300 city means you can just imagine basically. In India 1300 cities basically. Like Vadodara city, Chennai city, Bangalore city. So just see the sequence also basically. Ahmedabad, Delhi, then Surat, then Valsad, then Bhuj, Godhra is also there. Just we will see basically where actually Godhra is. Because lots of people say that Godhra is basically, just a minute, I will just tell you basically. Godhra, this is the Godhra basically. Where this is? Just see basically. See, Godhra see basically. See the Godhra. This Godhra is near here is the Godhra and near station is this. All are the routes basically. Direction basically is this. This is the Godhra. Near area see basically. This is the route. Ambali, then basically Pandava, then basically Durya, Samli, Govandi, so basically this is the Godhra, right? Basically, see basically Godhra, see the Godhra, see Godhra. So this is basically the Godhra basically. So like this basically Godhra, Ahmedabad, this whole city basically gets earthquake basically. So in this 1300 city, this whole city will be considered basically. If in India basically earthquake will happen basically, that basically without India support basically this is going to happen, no basically. So these all are basically the 1300 cities basically where earthquake will happen if any big level incidents will happen basically. So that basically very rare happens. Very rare means very rare basically. 1300 city means you can just imagine the earthquake magnitude also here basically. If earthquake magnitude is more than 9 basically, then only basically 1300 city basically is going to impact in India basically. Other than basically the 1300 city basically will not get the earthquake basically. 1300 city basically will not get the earthquake. So which all are the blood groups basically which will impact that basically? Due to that basically 1300 city will get the earthquakes in India basically. Which are those city basically? Sorry, which are the blood groups basically? There are 22 blood groups. So in this basically which all are blood groups basically are there which will impact to the India city basically, that is the 1300 city will get earthquakes. That 1300 city is, I will write here basically India country. India country. C basically. So 1300 India, 1300 cities, that is the India country will get the earthquake. So in next video basically we are going to see, we are going to view that basically, and we are going to tell that basically which all are the blood group basically. Due to that basically the 1300 cities going to impact as a earthquake.